righty, 7:35, 35 past the hour on this Monday morning. Glad to have you visit us this morning. Hope you'll do it, make it a daily habit. You know, the colonel was alluding there to Alec Baldwin. Of course, you know the story. He fired a prop gun on the set. Something came out and killed someone. You know, they haven't come out and said it's a bullet yet. But here's the thing, at least from my point of view, and the colonel may have a different one. When a person handles you a weapon, it's on you to make sure you know what's in that weapon and what's coming out of that weapon. It's not on anyone else, although they have their responsibilities too. It's you are the final end of it. I was in the gun course, and the instructor, who was John Zumwalt, who's certified and all that stuff. Anyway, he said, I want you to take my gun, and pointed at me. And first he cleared it. And this was a demonstration on how to get the weapon away. He cleared it, pulled the clip out, everything. So there was no bullet in that gun. And then he handed it to me. But before I went pointing at him like he requested, I looked to make sure there was nothing in the chamber and nothing in that clip. And made sure that, in my mind, that gun was totally safe. And that responsibility is on the gun holder. I don't care if Alec Baldwin is not proficient in it, then he should get proficient. If he's told to hold a weapon on a movie scene, he should know how to do it and operate it, and not just go out there and go click, click, click on the trigger. What say you, Colonel?
Oh, well, yeah, I don't know what they do out there in Hollywood, but clearly it isn't what they teach anywhere else in the military or any civilian gun course that I've ever attended, etc. So, you know, number one, I guess it wasn't a prop gun. A prop gun is like a rubber replica or plastic replica, non-firing, non-operational, etc. It's just made, it looks like a real gun, and etc. That's a prop. This firearm that was used there was a real firearm. Apparently, the cast and/or crew or people on that movie set had been using that firearm just to go what's called plinking, just for target practice. I don't know what caliber the firearm is. Looks like it probably a 45 or something like that. But it's a revolver, you know, an 1880s looking Colt revolver gun, and yeah, it was a real firearm capable of firing real bullets, because the cast and/or crew was out using it for recreational target practice on that set within the previous days. So, yeah, you have a real firearm there. And then number two, I guess investigators have found out that they had live ammunition stored with stored with blank ammunition in the same area, if not the same box or whatever. So there's no telling how many different people handled that firearm, what state of loading it was in. Was it loaded and discharged with discharged brass in the gun? Was it totally empty? Did somebody, you know, hey, we're going to get ready to do a movie scene, load it up and just grab some rounds that were laying around and put some live rounds in it, and then lays it out on a prep table, apparently. And then another person comes by, one of the associate producers, picks up the gun, hands it to Baldwin, and says, hey, this is a cold gun, meaning that it's not loaded. And obviously it was. And whether or not these individuals were killed with a blank round that pushed an obstruction through the barrel, or whether a live round was fired through it, you know, an honest to God cartridge, which it sounds like, because it went through one person and then hit a second person, which is, you know, very common. It's not like the movies, you know, they always show people standing around and the bullets, you know, there's never any further impact. But yeah, bullets travel through people at a pretty good pace, and you can kill 2 or 3 people with one round if they're all lined up in the in an appropriate order. So, yeah, and any rule, any place I've been, you hand over to, there's loads of people that should be in trouble here. You never hand a loaded weapon to anyone. Never hand a loaded firearm to anyone. You check it, you unload it, you remove the magazine or you dump the cartridges out of it, you turn it and you hand it handle first to the person that you're giving it to, and that's so that the person that's receiving it can look and see that the cylinders are empty, or see that the chamber is empty. You should hand it so with a semi-automatic, hand it so the chamber's up. They can look in there, see if there's a round stuck in there. The slide should be to the rear. The cylinder should be open if it's one of those types. If not, then when you take the firearm, you should spin the cylinder so you can see whether or not there's any rounds in it. And then you load whatever it is you're supposed to be loading in it. You load your blanks or load your live ammunition if you're going to target shoot or something. You never hand over a loaded weapon to anyone for any purpose. Period. That's military. That's the way I learned it. I don't know, maybe in the military today you're just doing whatever. But we're not in a combat situation. We're on a movie set. No safety rules whatsoever. Several people violated what I consider any common safety rules. And then old Alec Baldwin there takes the loaded firearm, promptly aims it at someone, and pulls the trigger. No, sorry. That is just not done.
It's also involuntary manslaughter.
Well, I'll let the legal beagles and all that take care of what the appropriate charges are. But he should be charged with something on the order of, involuntary negligence or something. But my point is, you never point that thing, and even in the movies, from what I've been reading over the last several days, very rarely do they have a shot or a scene where you actually point the firearm at someone and pulling the trigger, using the magic of camera angles, etc. When these people are actually shooting, they're not shooting directly at someone. They're shooting, off camera or offline somewhere. So what he did by taking that firearm, pointing it directly at that lady there and pulling the trigger, an absolute no-no. So yeah, he's negligent. He should be in jail. He should be out on bail somewhere. New Mexico, I would assume that they're pretty stringent with that. I don't know, but he shouldn't be walking around running his pie hole about anything at this point. The first thing he did was, how can someone, that was day one, right after it happened, he tweeted out or whatever, how can, I was told the gun was cold. How can someone hand me a hot weapon or something? He was already passing the buck from the very beginning. Getting ready to pass the buck to somebody else. Well, he handed me a hot weapon. Yep, that's wrong. And you took a hot weapon. That's wrong. You pulled the trigger. That's wrong. You should be in jail, big mouth Guinness, Alec Baldwin. You're a creep.
Well, we'll see what happens. I personally think he ought to be charged with involuntary manslaughter, because he was the last one to touch the weapon, whether he had proper training or not. That's on him too, and probably some in the movie set should have properly trained him, but they didn't. He picked up the gun, he aimed it, he fired it, and now one person's dead, one person is holding on. So, yeah,
well, the second individual that got shot in the shoulder, I guess he's okay. He's already out of the hospital apparently. But yeah, he killed someone, pure and simple. Hey, he should be persona non grata. No one should ever allow him on another movie production site ever again. Guns should be outlawed in Hollywood. Guns should be outlawed for all actors. No actor should ever be able to own a gun or use one in a movie. How's that? Baldwin. You ought to be supportive of that, you creep.
Well, we'll see what the fallout is, but I think they'll probably hire Baldwin next week to be on Saturday Night Live to come out and do a stupid, non-funny Donald Trump impression. And everybody in the audience will go, "Oh, he's so good! Hooray!"
Now the fallout will be they'll try to take firearms away from everybody else who's never shot anyone, who's never made those mistakes. Yep. That's what he'll do. He'll be out there pressing that.
How about we yell what they do from the Democratic side? We need sensible gun regulations.
That's what I'm saying. That's what he'll do.
Yeah, on the movie sets.
Hopefully he'll be doing it from jail.
Well, he needs a few years to think about it.
Well, it's a cinch that any Joe average American out here, black, white, yellow, indifferent, if you do that, well, he handed me a gun and I just pointed it and pulled the trigger and it killed somebody. Guess what? You go immediately to jail. Period. Not a doubt in my mind, unless you're one of the privileged class, like Baldwin here. He gets to wander around out there in La La Land, and he should be in jail.
Well, he's the executive producer on the thing. He should have had policies in place.
Well, I'm sure he did, and because he was the executive producer, that means he's going to be paying big. He'll be paying big for all of this stuff. Yep, that was his fault all the way down the line. He hired. Well, they use this term armorer. They have an armorer on set. I find that insulting to anyone who's actually an armorer and understands firearms and how to repair them, et cetera, because the individual that they have depicted as the armorer on that site is certainly no armorer.
Well, they could have done it with computers where the flash of the gun gets put in by the computer and the noise gets put in by the sound tech.
Yeah, CGI and all that.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they'll end up going to, and they should, because clearly Hollywood actors are not capable of safely handling firearms, as proven by Alec Baldwin. So all actors should be disarmed immediately. Period. Today, they should be lined up and having all their weapons, firearms, etc., taken away.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. Let's turn to our sound bites. Did you have anything else, Colonel?
No.
Okay.
No, that was too much on a knucklehead that doesn't deserve any time anyway.
That's for sure. Let's turn to our good news this morning. We have a good news story for you.
I need some good news.
I have some good news.
Be a goldfish. Yeah? How is this good news?
There's a difference between good and great.
Okay, good news.
Got it? Okay, good.
That's good news. This is good news.
It's pretty good. Let's hear it.
All right, a Marine veteran, James Kelser, stopped an armed robbery attempt at a gas station last week in Yuma, Arizona. He had just bought something when the crooks entered with guns, little scrawny kids. So he took one of them down, disarmed him, and detained him until the police arrived. The other two crooks, well, he said, "I'm having none of this." They bolted out, and one of them was arrested later. Here's James telling the story for himself.
My first thought was that it was an awfully small barrel. The situation had to be dealt with, and there was really only one way to deal with it. Picked my target and said, "That's the one I'm going for," and he took an extra step towards me. He was in my reach. I hit him in the gun before the keys hit the ground. That's how fast I moved. I'm a chubby guy, so I don't move that fast anymore. I put on a couple pounds since the Marine Corps. May or may not have broke his nose because he was bleeding all over the place. I asked him, "How old are you?" And he says, "Well, I'm just 14. And yeah, you done screwed up. That boy needs some Jesus. He's going down the wrong path real quick.
Yeah. Until he met a Marine. So hoorah to you, James Kelser.
Yeah, at the end of that, if that was the Fox interview, at the end of the Fox interview, as they're getting ready to sign off, he said, what's the name of the pedophile that got killed in jail?
Epstein.
He says Epstein didn't kill himself, and apparently that was engendered some consternation from the Fox talking heads.
I guess you had to be there.
Well, the conspiracy theories. Well, he could have said something else. Let's go, Brandon. That probably would have been okay.
Yep. I wrote somebody about that the other day. They were complaining. What were they complaining about? Something about the school board and everything. And I typed in, "Let's go, Brandon."
Yeah.
Because it fit the conversation at the time. Atlanta Braves beat the LA Dodgers Saturday night, Game 6 of the National League Championship Series, and won the pennant. Here's the final call of that game.
Here's a 1-0. And on the crowd, Swanson, he's got it to his feet, throw to first. There it is! The Atlanta Braves are going to the World Series!
And let's turn the crowd noise up. I actually heard a syllable in there. Not supposed to be able to do that. And it was a winning weekend for the two Major League Baseball teams involving the World Series. The Houston Astros beat the Boston Red Sox Friday night to win the American League Championship Series 4-2. The Astros will host the Braves in the World Series, which begins tomorrow night.
Here comes the 0-1. Fly ball into left. That should do it. Astros win the pennant.
Yeah, that's some payback by Atlanta. They got raked over the coals and lost the All-Star game, so now they get to host maybe 3 or 4 World Series games. Make up for that. Yeah. Thank you very much. So good on Atlanta. I'll be chide. I probably wouldn't watch much of it, but you know what? I think I'll watch the home games for Atlanta anyway.
All right, sounds like a plan. Well, all the comedians last week, or I should say the Eunuch Boys, quote, comedians from last week didn't work. But one worked over the weekend. That was Bill Maher. And some of the folks at SNL. So here's the best of the
pedophiles.
The best of the Eunuch Boys.
A Star Wars themed house has been listed for sale in Florida, but in Florida, Star Wars theme just means it was owned by siblings who kiss.
Pfizer also reported Friday that its COVID vaccine for children is 90% effective. Meanwhile, Johnson & Johnson reported that their COVID vaccine for children is just Capri Sun.
Psychiatrists and pediatricians now saying there's a national mental health emergency with the young, with the youth of America, sullen, withdrawn, full of anxiety. And then COVID hit. But they say it's 10 times worse now. I heard a mother at the dinner table the other night say, "Honey, are you okay? You've barely taken a picture of your food."
Okay. Well, Facebook is thinking of rebranding. Just think, Kentucky Fried Chicken changed their name to KFC. Dunkin' Donuts switched to just Dunkin'. Hey, Alexa, what are some possible rebranding names for Facebook?
Here are some possible new names for Facebook. Teenage Wasteland. Bunch of Suckers. Get Faced. Disinformation Land. Time Suck. Facing McFaceboat. Your car warranty is up. Book. And Evil Core. Those are some possible new names for Facebook.
Yeah, there's some good ones there, and they're very.
I like the wasteland for teenagers.
Yeah, very descriptive and very accurate. Well, I don't know. Didn't I read that Trump is finally going to start his new social media thing?
In January.
In January. Yeah, we'll see how that does. And he should have a ready-made group of people ready to move over there from Facebook. So.
Well, you can go ahead and pre-register. It's at truthsocial.com.
Well, yeah, you can pre-register, get the beta thing and all that. And I thought I read where, and it's not just a social page. There's other things wrapped up in this entertainment venue kind of thing that he's working on. But I saw that the investment in it had just, exploded. So it sounds like he'll have the money for it anyway.
Well, it's Saints and the Seahawks tonight on Monday Night Football. That'll wrap up Week 7 of the season, which has had its share of surprises.
And now it's time for this week's extremely uncommon NFL phrases. The Arizona Cardinals are 7-0. The Detroit Lions are 0-7. Those are this week's extremely uncommon NFL phrases.
Why would 0-7 for Detroit be an uncommon phrase?
I don't know.
I would think that's fairly common, actually.
Didn't they win 1 or 2?
No, Detroit. No, they've been up and down, but they've been miserable for ages. As opposed to, I guess you could say, yeah, Arizona 7-0. They've had some good teams in the last few years, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, that's not common for Arizona to be 7-0.
Well, a female plane passenger sparked an online fury when another passenger posted a picture of her after she draped her long hair over the back of her seat, let it hang down right in this food tray. It was hanging down over the tray table of the person behind her. It's going to be a sad day, when onboard announcements sound like this.
Welcome aboard Flight 242. As well as the usual safety precautions, we'd also like to remind you not to drape your hair over the back of your seat. That's a nuisance to those sitting behind you. We also ask that you please don't remove your socks and prop your feet up on another passenger's head. Refrain from finger or toenail clipping. Do not floss your teeth at any time during the flight. And no, leg or head shaving is not allowed. Please try to use common sense while flying with us today. Now sit back, shut up, and if everyone behaves, we can be there in an hour or so.
I'd tie it in knots.
I think I'd pull out my scissors and pull down on the hair and right there above the tray line, cut it off.
Well,
and when she grabs her hair and turns around, what are you doing?
How did you get on
your hair out of my food?
How did you get on the airline with scissors?
I bring them in 2 pieces.
Oh. Yeah, even better. That's right. 2 knives instead of.
And they're little kindergarten scissors.
No, I just tie it in knots. Do a little braid work and put plenty of knots in it.
Or you're moving your lighter around in your pocket and oops, it went off.
Yeah, well, that would be. I would prefer to cut it off or burn it off, but I'm not sure I'd have implements for either of those things.
I just start pulling at it. And then when she gets upset about it, I say, well, get it out of my lap. I could say something really dirty now. Never mind. All right, let's check out today's not headline news.
This is not headline news. A German tourist in Italy found and returned Harrison Ford's credit card. Ford believes it fell out of his wallet when he was crash landing. Supply chain issues are causing an alcohol shortage. It's bad enough we're facing a turkey shortage, but a wild turkey shortage would make Thanksgiving completely intolerable. In sports, the Houston Astros will play the Atlanta Braves in the World Series. The Astros say they're looking forward to beating the Braves like a trash can. And today is National Greasy Foods Day, or as we know it around lunchtime here at the station, Monday. This is not headline news.
All right. Police have arrested a woman in New Hampshire for stealing someone's service dog at a Walmart. The shopper briefly stepped up and away from her cart to grab a soft drink. When she turned around, her dog, Emmy Lou, was allegedly taken by 56-year-old Christine Powers. Thankfully, the dog was returned to its owner. Here's Police Captain Tim McGlynn talking about the reunion.
Obvious that they were meant for each other. It was a pretty powerful reunion, per se. She was very happy.
Yeah, if somebody took my dog, we'd have a problem too. Okay. Let's see. Moving on. Let's see. Don't sound so great. Got another good news story for you. A video is going viral of an ER nurse proposing to his now fiancée on a helipad. Kelsey Dunlap was called to the hospital helipad thinking she was grabbing a patient, and that's when her now fiancé, Jacob Young, popped the question. Here's the soon-to-be married couple talking about their viral moment.
I could tell that she was very in the zone when she was wheeling her stretcher out to the helicopter. I could tell that she was in game mode, ready to pick up a real patient.
I really didn't even register what was going on until he dropped to a knee, and then it finally all clicked. He's asked me to marry him.
It was by far the most stressful day of my life, but it was very worth it.
Okay. We wish you the best. Man, we did that. Actor Peter Scolari passed away on Friday at the age of 66. He died from leukemia after being diagnosed 2 years ago. He co-starred with Tom Hanks in the sitcom Bosom Buddies and played Michael on Newhart. And more recently, he had recurring roles as Tad Horvath on Girls. In a statement, Bob Newhart said, quote, "I knew that Peter was sick, but his death still comes as a great shock. We were friends and colleagues for over 40 years. In life, he was a fantastic person, and it was a joy to work together." There's a little clip of Peter in Bosom Buddies and Newhart.
Hello, Henry.
Hello, Amy. Hello, Amy.
Hello, Henry.
The woman is possessed. Any calls?
Yes, I called you 3 times.
I wasn't home. As a matter of fact, our entire home wasn't home.
Michael, I'm afraid I have to withdraw from your case.
Oh, what, now that I'm a loony on the loose, you're throwing me to the lions?
It's not like that at all, Michael. You see, I've been having these feelings for you. Feelings that a doctor should not be having for her patient.
You mean you don't like me?
Quite the opposite.
You mean I don't like you?
I'm thrilled to present the Emmy for Outstanding Guest Actor in a Comedy Series, and the Emmy goes to Peter Scolari, Girls.
Okay. Well, death comes in threes, it seems like. James Michael Tyler, who played Gunther on the Central Park barista on Friends, passed away yesterday. He lost his battle with cancer. He was 59. And Val Biscolio from The Sopranos, Saturday Night Fever, and MASH passed away at the age of 95. Here's the classic "He Hit My Hair" scene from Saturday Night Live.
25 years in construction work, I always brought him a paycheck. For 6, 7 months I'm out of work, and all of a sudden what? You hit me. And talking back.
All right, all right.
Talking about getting a job and hitting me.
All right. No hitting, no slamming at the dinner table. Okay, that's the rule. And you was the one that's hitting.
1 pork chop! 1!
Hey, Frank!
It's disgusting, right? Sick. We just wash the hair.
Yeah.
You know, I work on my hair a long time, and you hit it. He hits my hair.
Take care of his hair. I'm gonna take a walk.
What show was that from?
Saturday Night Fever.
Oh.
I know I said live.
Well, wouldn't have made any difference.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever watched that movie. Saturday Night
You
Fever.
haven't?
No.
It was an iconic turning point in America.
It was, huh? Okay.
Yeah, before Saturday Night Live, you had a few dive bars that you go in. Nothing like it is today. And then Saturday Night Fever came out. This is what happened in Raleigh. Then a little small bar opened, a country bar opened up in Raleigh. It took off. And it grew to about 15,000 square feet. And had 2 sides to it, a rock and roll side with Saturday Night Fever looking, and a country side was from the urban cowboy craze on the other side. But other bars opened up around right after Saturday Night Fever came out around town that were these, dancing, drinking bars, get together, meet people bars. And everybody had kind of a pattern. On Monday night, they go here. Tuesday night, everybody went there, and Wednesday and so forth. But that was life growing up in Raleigh. Down here, I don't think they built any bars. They have a few bars. I wouldn't call them bars. Drinking holes. What do you call them?
I don't know. Watering hole you're talking about.
They serve food.
Restaurant. Hey, shouldn't
bar/restaurant?
Shouldn't the news be on right now?
Sure should. I don't know what's going on, man. I don't know what. The news should have been on. Should have played my bumper. This makes no sense at all, unless I got a hard drive dying.
Well, your franking computer's not smoking over here, so.
Well, I'm trying to figure out what's hitting it. I mean, let me force it to go. All right, it is 8:07 straight up.
Thanks for help bringing the economy back. One local purchase at a time.
Kind of uplifts you and you feel better.
It's the greatest comeback of all time. With Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM. WEEB.
Do you love great barbecue? Then you must try Whispering Q, Moore County's newest barbecue restaurant. They offer classic pulled pork and pulled chicken sandwiches, baby back ribs, smoked chicken wings, and even a smoked sliced prime rib sandwich. Plus, they have a wide variety of classic side dishes, burgers, and a kids menu too. If you want something different, order their pulled nachos. And don't forget dessert, apple pie. Splurge and get it with ice cream and caramel on top. Whispering Q is located at 2 Clubhouse Boulevard in Whispering Pines. They're open Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Friday and Saturday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Dine in or take out. Check them out on the web at whisperingq.com, like them on Facebook, or call 910-949-3000 and choose option 2 from the menu. Whispering Q. Ain't nothing quiet about this Q.
Over the past several years, WEEB has been telling you about Seven Lakes Contracting and Asphalt Services. During that time, Sherry and Howard Hoke have experienced a large increase in their business because of their beautiful paved driveways and much more. Seven Lakes Contracting and Asphalt Services offers patching, excavation, and drainage issue solutions, crack filling, seal coating, and striping for both residential and commercial. And now they have added concrete, pouring sidewalks, driveways, curbs, and gutters, pads, as well as pavers. Estimates are free, and they will come to your property to assess your needs. No job is too big or too small. Go online to slcontractingllc.com or the Seven Lakes Contracting and Asphalt Services Facebook page showing photos and customer reviews. So, call 910-673-1318. Active duty military will receive a 10% discount. 910-673-1318.
Hey folks, Celeste here from Whispering Woods Golf Club. Come on out and see what all the buzz is about here at Whispering Woods Golf Club. We have some great rates going on until the end of November, so don't miss out on your opportunity to play Ellis Maples' one-of-a-kind gem here in the Sandhills. We are also offering our lifetime memberships. Come see me to see what we can do for you. Live the dream. Play affordable golf. We are also offering to our active and retired military memberships until the end of the year. $225 a month, unlimited, all-inclusive golf, or $800 if paid in full. So come on down to Whispering Woods Golf Club, located at 26 Sandpiper Drive, Whispering Pines, or give us a call at 910-949-4653. And don't forget, book it, Dano.
By now, you have probably heard that Health Innovation Pharmacy sold its retail prescription business to another company. However, they still offer compounding and medical equipment. So for dye-free, preservative-free, alcohol-free, or sugar-free forms of medications, turn to Health Innovation Pharmacy. Same location on Pinehurst Avenue, but with a new phone number, 910-246-2850. And be sure to see all the high-quality medical equipment that Health Innovation Pharmacy offers, like beds, wheelchairs, lift chairs, colostomy, and diabetes supplies, and a large supply of safety equipment, like canes and walkers. Open 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. Still located at 295 Pinehurst Avenue in Southern Pines. Or call them at 910-246-2850. And as always, you can visit them on the web at healthinnovationspharmacy.com.
NCN News, I'm Mike Riley. The COVID-19 pandemic still looms large across the country. CBS News' Mark Strassman has more.
Another complication, tens of thousands of unvaccinated employees could be fired 2 weeks before Christmas. They're employees of federal contractors facing a December 8th vaccination deadline set by President Biden.
A North Carolina State University professor is suing the school's board of trustees in federal court over what he describes as retaliation for his comments criticizing social justice ideology. Stephen Porter is a professor of the College of Education at NC State.
For the past 3 years, my department has been trying to isolate me and drain me of resources because I've opposed a big push for what we used to call social justice, but now I think most people are referring to as wokeness or CRT.
The cost of health continues to be a worry, and that is compounded by the pandemic. Donald Gensig, as president and CEO of Raleigh-based WakeMed Health and Hospitals, says technology is making service available closer to home.
We focus very heavily on trying to move care to the lowest cost setting. So instead of the emergency room to urgent care, instead of urgent care to the doctor's office, instead of the doctor's office to virtual, instead of virtual to really being able to have care delivered in the home.
Afghanistan's economy is on the brink of collapse. Imtiaz Tayeb has more from Colorado.
According to the United Nations, if urgent humanitarian assistance doesn't come soon, more than 1 million children will die from malnutrition. Signs of desperation can be seen in every corner of Afghanistan. This USAID-funded World Food Program distribution center is packed, but all that's on offer are sacks of flour and a bit of salt.
And in Ohio, Texas, and North Carolina, the legislative maps continue to be drawn there. You're listening to NCN News.
If you want the nation's best auto insurer, look no further than North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Rated #1 in Crash Network's Insurer Report Card, we're the only insurer in the nation to receive an A+ rating from auto body shops in 2020 and 2021. Our philosophy is simple. Be fair, be quick, be the best. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
I got the vaccine to protect myself.
Because COVID-19 is still spreading.
All the patients I take care of with COVID-19 have one thing in common.
They have not gotten their vaccine.
The vaccines were proven safe and effective in clinical trials with thousands of people.
That's why I tell my friends and family to get theirs.
I'll take feeling achy for a day or two over going to the hospital or dying any day.
Don't wait.
Go to myspot.nc.gov
to get your free COVID vaccine.
Sponsored by NCDHHS.
The final day of the North Carolina State Fair looked like the busiest, with families flocking to traditional attractions on Sunday. After that relatively slow start to the fair, the Midway was bustling by midday on Sunday. It's the best hybrid movie release of the pandemic era.
I've been having dreams about a girl from Maracas.
Dune with Timothée Chalamet and Zendaya debuted with more than $40 million in ticket sales, despite streaming simultaneously on HBO Max. Director Denis Villeneuve was dead set against that dual release, insisting the future of film is on the big screen. Warner Brothers says it plans to return to exclusive theatrical releases next year. Halloween Kills came in second at the weekend box office with $14 million. The latest Bond film, No Time to Die, third with almost $12 million. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
Now this.
From the Southern Farm Network, I'm Mike Davis. The House Agriculture Committee moved several bills late last week, including the Cattle Contract Library Act. The legislation saw wide support from agriculture. The committee also passed a bill that would provide $100 million in additional funds for students at the 1890 land-grant universities, including North Carolina A&T. The FCC says it's authorizing nearly $550 million in its third round of funding for new broadband deployments in 19 states, including North Carolina. That brings the total investment to more than $1 billion. Supply chain disruptions and material shortages are fueling speculation about a herbicide shortage for the 2022 ag growing season. Glyphosate and glufosinate are the two main active ingredients that potentially may be in short supply. I'm Mike Davis.
Mike Rayleigh, NCN News.
We're tracking a strong cold front that will move into the region. It's going to bring us the potential for some strong to severe thunderstorms, as we do have a level 2 threat for severe weather activity in place for parts of the viewing area. Highs today will head into the upper 70s and lower 80s. A few isolated showers and thunderstorms possible around lunchtime. This evening, a line of stronger storms will likely move through. Damaging wind speeds will be the main threat. I'm meteorologist Peter Sherwood in the Weather Center.
All right, one of those days. Right now here in the Sandhills, it's sunny, 64 degrees, humidity 87%, dew point 59, pressure is 2976 and winds east of 1. It is 8:17. Let's take a look at your Sandhills news for this Monday morning. A man was airlifted to a hospital Saturday afternoon after a single vehicle accident in Jackson Springs on Jackson Springs Road near NC Highway 73. The North Carolina Highway Patrol says the man was traveling eastbound on Jackson Spring Road towards Foxfire when he went off the right side of the road and around a curve. The driver overcorrected, sending him across the center line. The truck he was driving went off the road and flipped sideways in a ditch, hitting several trees. First responders were able to get the man back out of the truck. He was airlifted to a hospital for serious injuries. According to the troopers, speed was a factor in the crash. 21-year-old man from Pine Bluff was captured after police say he assaulted and fired a weapon at a female in Southern Pines Friday. Taheem Albrook was arrested after fleeing the scene when the Southern Pines Police Department and Sheriff's Department found him at his home on Jeans Loop. The Southern Pines Police Department said in a news release they were called to an apartment building in the 1600 blocks of Richard Street just before midnight. The police department said officers spoke with the female victim and determined there was a domestic disturbance incident that had occurred, which led to a physical assault on the suspect firing a weapon at the victim. The female victim was not injured in the assault. However, the projectile did strike the unoccupied office building for the apartment complex. Albert was placed in the detention center under a $25,000 secured bond. And Moore County Schools officials are planning to introduce on-campus testing district-wide the week of November 8th. A $1.4 million grant from the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services is funding supplies up to 14 nurses and conduct testing for the remainder of the school year. 85% of public school districts already offer testing through the program. The program provides PCR testing with a turnaround time for results of 24 hours. Written consent from parents is required before any testing is done. In high school football, well, all three high school schools came away from their football game victorious Friday night. Northmore got back in the win column with a victory over Graham High School, 49-20. Union Pines picked up its second win of the season by defeating Southern Lee 24-6, and Pinecrest picked up another conference win by defeating Hoke High School 38-10. That's your latest Sandhills news and high school sports from the Sandhills Sentinel and the WEEB News Desk. If you need more information, of course, you can always get it at sandhillsentinel.com. It's 8:20. Sports is next, right here on Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM WEEB.
The Morning Sports Report is brought to you by Hughes Supply of Pinehurst. With over 50 years' experience, Hughes Supply can handle all your plumbing project needs from start to finish. Call 910-295-5541 or visit them online at HughesSupplyPinehurst.com.
NCN Sports, I'm Josh Zach. After opening the season with 3 straight wins, the Carolina Panthers have lost 4 straight, hitting hard times without Christian McCaffrey in the lineup. Carolina dropping their latest 25-3 to the New York Giants. The score at halftime, a whopping 5-3. Daniel Jones threw a 5-yard touchdown pass and made a spectacular one-handed 16-yard grab on the game's only meaningful touchdown drive, leading the Giants to a 25-3 final. Former Panthers kicker Graham Gano also chipped in with 3 field goals for the Giants, who held Carolina to 3 points and 173 total yards of offense, both team lows under Matt Rule, who benched Sam Darnold in the fourth quarter.
Just felt like we needed some sort of a spark, not that anything was necessarily him. I think it's all of them, hoping PJ would go out there and, make a run or do something to kind of get us going. Sam will be our quarterback next week. He'll be our quarterback moving forward. But in a game like that, I called a fake punt at the minus 15 or 20-yard line the first half trying to get us going. It got, we checked out of it, Champ checked out of it, but, this is obviously not anywhere good enough.
The rumor mill also begun swirling that the Panthers will make a play for Deshaun Watson before the trade deadline. Tom Brady has become the first player to throw 600 career touchdown passes. He reached a milestone in the Bucs' 38-3 thrashing of the Chicago Bears. The Packers earned their 6th consecutive win. Aaron Rodgers 27 of 35 for 274 yards and 3 touchdowns and a 24-10 decision over Washington. Joe Burrow had a career-high 416 yards and 3 scores, including a pivotal 82-yarder to rookie Jamar Chase in the third quarter of Cincinnati's 41-17 dismantling of the Ravens in Baltimore. The two teams now share the lead of the AFC North at 5-2. The Cardinals, still the NFL's only unbeaten team. Kyler Murray threw for 261 yards and 3 touchdowns. He was picked off once in the 31-5 thrashing of the Texans. This is NCN Sports.
Do you find yourself considering a home generator when a storm is approaching? It's better to prepare now. A Generac automatic standby generator from Alternative Power guards the home against blackouts caused by weather of all types. 45 years in business and over 10,000 satisfied customers. Act now for a free 10-year warranty on a Generac automatic standby generator from Alternative Power. Terms and conditions apply. Financing options are available. Alternative Power, North Carolina's Generac experts. See more at alternativepower.com.
Fighting cancer is tough on the best day, but imagine a cancer diagnosis without access to affordable health insurance. If you are uninsured, you have a 60% greater chance of dying from that cancer than if you were insured. Care for Carolina is committed to providing more insurance options and health care access. Covering the uninsured means better health for all of us.
Go to care4carolina.com to find out more. That's care4carolina.com. Care for Carolina, expanding access, enhancing prosperity.
Framber Valdez getting the starting nod for the Houston Astros in Game 1 of the World Series tomorrow. The Braves are countering with Charlie Morton, who pitched for Houston from 2017 and 2018 and got the win in Game 7 of the 2017 World Series. Meanwhile, baseball's 9th work stoppage and first in 26 years appears almost certain to begin December 2nd. In the NBA, the Charlotte Hornets are 3-0 for the first time in franchise history. Miles Bridges had 32 points and 9 boards in the Hornets' 111-95 win at Brooklyn. Kyle Larson's Cup Series high 9th win of the year coming on a most meaningful date in his new job with Hendrick Motorsports. Larson drove the number 5 Chevy to victory lane at Kansas Speedway on Sunday, the 17th anniversary of a Hendrick plane crash that killed all 10 people aboard. Larson beat reigning Cup champion and Hendrick teammate Chase Elliott by 3.619 seconds. Josh Zach, NCN Sports.
We're proud to be working with our local businesses for the greatest comeback of all time.
Come together.
With Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM. WEEB.
Football season is back in session, and Rudino's Pizza and Grinders has your Sunday night ticket on DirecTV. Get a small grinder, side salad, and a bag of chips for just $5.99. Or try our renowned pizza, voted the best in Spectator magazine. Visit Rudino'sSouthernPines.com to see our complete menu and specials. Make Rudino's Pizza and Grinders your Sunday football sanctuary, located on Pinehurst Avenue in Southern Pines.
For the second year in a row, Pinehurst Toyota has been awarded the Pilot's 2021 Best of the Pine Service Department winner. The Toyota Service Department opens Monday through Saturday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Call for an appointment at 910-212-5984 or go without an appointment. We also have pick-up and drop-off service, and the first 2 years or 25,000 miles are covered by the Toyota Care Program. We don't just service Toyota and Lexus, but foreign vehicles and domestic vehicles too. The Toyota Sales Department opens weekdays from 9 a.m. to 7:30, Saturday 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and noon to 5 on Sunday. Call us during business hours at 910-692-2424. We're located Highway 15501 in Southern Pines. And thank you for voting for the Pilot's Pinehurst Toyota Best of the Pine Service Department and Sandhill Magazine Best Dealership in Moore County.
You look out the window. It's dark. You lock the doors. Maybe you set an alarm. You take every precaution. Do whatever it takes to keep your home safe. But it's not. In fact, termites may be destroying your home right now. You may not see them. You may not hear them. But by the time you see the damage termites cause, it may be too late. So don't wait, because now there is something new. Introducing Termidor, the unique treatment that wipes out 100% of the termites in your home in 3 months or less. They'll never see it coming. But you can't get it from any store. So ask for Termidor by name from your pest control company. Because if you're not asking for Termidor, you're asking for trouble.
Termidor is available at Aberdeen Exterminating. Call 944-2474. For service, that's 944-2474.
Moore County military veterans, listen up. We are losing our country for which you sacrificed so much. Our country is under attack by elites and the government class. These domestic enemies of our Constitution are destroying our country from within. You swore an oath to defend our Constitution against enemies, both foreign and domestic. That doesn't end with separation or retirement from the military. Honor your oath. Defend our Constitution using your First Amendment rights. Start by registering to vote. Then vote in village and town council elections happening now in Moore County. Vote early, 14 to 30 October or on Election Day, 2 November. To register to vote and learn more, visit the Moore County GOP headquarters on Mondays and Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Call 910-912-4290 for details. You can also visit Moore County GOP on Facebook or our website, mcrmc.club. We the people need you. Your country still needs you. Get back in the fight and vote.
Paid for by the Moore County Republican Party.
As our economy gradually reopens, remember to support local.
Know you're doing the right thing and stay proud.
Be a part of the greatest comeback of all time with Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM. WEEB.
The Zumwalt Zone is proudly sponsored by Moore County Citizens for Freedom. Always looking out for you.
Hello, I'm John Zumwalt, and you're in the Zumwalt Zone. You know what I'm sick of hearing? I'm sick of hearing from left-wing liberals that the United States is an evil nation because of our past. All you whiners out there who pontificate for hours about Christopher Columbus and your crusade to have him erased from our history. What about Joe Biden? He's here now, and he's destroying our nation, and you support him. You think Thomas Jefferson should be studied only as a villain, if he's studied at all. That makes sense because you despise the Constitution. One of your local leaders, Lowell Simon, came on my show and admitted he didn't believe in the Second Amendment. I still have that. You're even going after the magnificent father of our country, George Washington. You demand he be denounced. You have no idea what you're talking about. Read your history. Then compare him and his military leadership that allowed this country to even exist to the complete incompetence of Joe Biden, a man who deserted his role as commander-in-chief by allowing hundreds of Americans to be left behind in a war zone. And while you're complaining because our forefathers were not as virtuous and as wonderful as you worship hero movie stars trying to emulate them. Go ahead with your unlawful actions. Keep up your riots. Keep tearing down statues. Keep supporting Pelosi and Biden. One day when this country's a joke and our military's a joke, you'll change your tune. And by the way, I'm sick of your tune in the Zumwalt Zone.
We're going to see temperatures in the upper 70s and lower 80s for today. We have a level 2 threat for severe weather activity in place for parts of our viewing area, as we are tracking some strong to severe thunderstorms to move through as we head into this evening, clearing out by tonight. Around lunchtime, we cannot rule out a few isolated showers. Those are going to gradually move out, and as we head into the overnight hours, our temperatures will dip into the mid-50s and lower 60s. I'm meteorologist Peter Sherwood in the Weather Center.
And now, the Sandhills' #1 morning show. Mornings with the LeaderMan. Here on Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM WEEB. And heard and seen around the world at talk973.com.
The best part of waking up is waking up with us. All over the world, everybody, join in. Start a love tree. All over the night, join in. Love ride. Love tree.
Hello, I'm John Zoomwalt, and you're in the Zoomwalt Zone. You know what I'm sick of hearing? I'm sick of hearing.
Is it Halloween?
No, not yet.
Well, what is it?
Something even scarier. What? It's Monday.
It's Monday? Monday! That's pretty scary.
You want to hear something scarier?
Get back to work.
Now that's scary.
It's showtime.
Good morning, Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM WEEB. Welcome back to the most listened to program in all of the Sandhills. It is time once again for Mornings with the LeaderMan. I am Steve Leader Adams, along with the Colonel, retired Marine Colonel Jeff Drummond.
Hey, good morning, Moore County. Time once again to take in the fresh air of truth and freedom, found only here at WEEB. We've got a computer problem here. So Steve is taking the information offline, so you get to listen to me for the next half hour, 45 minutes. John had his opportunity to come in, but he couldn't get here, so that's it. Hey, we talked quite a bit about Alec Baldwin there and some of his things. I know there's a lot of military, retired military, law enforcement, etc. I think we kind of beat that one to death. But, the man with the gun in his hand, he's responsible for it. I think another one of the topics that you find this morning, I guess, Dershowitz. Dershowitz came out and said, hey, the government, the president can mandate a vaccine. He can make it mandatory for everyone to take a vaccine. That's based on a Supreme Court ruling from, the smallpox epidemic back in the just after World War II, just after World War I. But that's based on a totally different set of circumstances. Number one, smallpox was something that can be transferred by physical contact, etc. So you have quite a bit of problem there. People just touching things, etc. were able to transmit that disease. Number one. Number two, smallpox had a 20% plus fatality rate. 20% of the people that contracted the smallpox, in fact, ended up dead. That's not the case with COVID. Neither of those two circumstances are the case with COVID. Number one, COVID has a 99.9 something percent rate of recovery, especially amongst younger and even into middle age. The elderly are certainly at risk, etc. But, that's nowhere near 20%. We're talking less, 2% or less than a 2% mortality rate with COVID, number one. Number two, COVID, the vaccine for COVID does not stop the spread of COVID. Unlike the vaccine for the smallpox. Smallpox vaccine prevented the spread. It killed the virus. That was it. You didn't have to worry about a vaccinated individual passing on smallpox to anyone else. That is what we're finding out is the case with COVID. In fact, the vaccine does not stop the spread. In fact, vaccinated individuals spread the virus in inordinately greater numbers than just regularly infected individuals. So that court case, again, decided by the Supreme Court in 1920 or something like that. That's not relevant here. That case would need to be heard again, specifically for the COVID. Discussing the specifics of the COVID, the vaccine, and the way it's spread. Two different things. So I think Dershowitz, made the comment. Steve passed that to me just as he was heading up the door, and he's feverishly typing away on a computer up there. I think he's getting ready to hook it up to the back of his car to drag it around the parking lot a few times to see if that'll make it work. But we'll just continue to march here. I don't know. Let me think. Terry McAuliffe, for those of you who are former Virginia residents,
in this country. They kick the President of the United States off. They censor conservative middle-class Ohioans all the time. We're approaching a point in this country where 4 or 5 technology companies control what you're allowed to say, how you're allowed to say it. And at the end of the day, if they control what you're allowed to say, they'll eventually control what you're allowed to think, and that is the end of the constitutional republic in this country. We have to go to war against these companies, or they're going to destroy our country.
Bernie Marino.
So I think, let me just address the woke corporation issue real quick, because the best way...
Sounds like it just started. Oh, all right. So now you get me again. It is off. But in any case, what was I talking about? Virginia, Terry McAuliffe, former Clintonite or current Clintonite, in some of his comments, he continues to show his ignorance of the people. The people up there in Virginia are starting to. They have a huge problem with their school boards up there, and what it is that they're teaching their children, and some of the other things that are going on in their schools. And we have similar issues down here. But Terry McAuliffe, his comment, we don't need the parents telling school boards what to teach. Well, that's in fact wrong. School boards do need parent input, because school boards are off track here across the country, indoctrinating kids into certain other philosophies when they should just be teaching reading, writing, arithmetic. Let these kids grow up literate and competent and rational thought, and then go to college and then develop a philosophy of life. You don't need to start that when they're 4 and 5 years old, 6 years old, teaching them some of the, I'll say the same thing that Mark Robinson said, teaching them some of the filth that seems to be prevalent in our school curriculum. That stuff needs to go. You need to start adding 2 and 2 equals 4, subtracting 2 minus 2 equals 0. That's what you need to do. You need to teach them handwriting. You need to teach them to read. et cetera, and let them figure it out for themselves later on. I don't need anybody on a school board or in a college in a school administration handing me their particular philosophy of life. I can guarantee you, it's not going to match to mine, not going to match to the majority of the people, and even in a blue area like Loudoun County, etc., in Virginia, people are tired of it, and people recognize it for what it is and want to do what they can to get rid of those types of things in school boards. And then when you have a school board who, in fact, turns a blind eye to a rape that occurred in its school, in a school bathroom, by an individual who claims to identify as a female, a young man who, hey, I feel like a woman, or I feel like I'm a female, I'm going into the women's restroom, and then goes in and perpetrates a sexual crime. They ignore it. The school board and the school administration there ignores it, sends him to another school, gets him out of that school, sends him to another one, does the same thing there, and then vilifies and criminalizes the father of the girl who was raped, comes in, and he ends up being manhandled out of the meeting and identified as a criminal, identified as a terrorist or whatever, because he's upset about what happened to his daughter and the fact that the school board and the school administration has done nothing to correct it. And then that started with this National School Council letter to the Attorney General of the United States. Hey, we have a problem here, death threats and all these kind of things. We need to declare parents as domestic terrorists and start investigating them, and we need to shut them up and cool them off and get them out of our school board meetings where they're being disruptive. They're not being disruptive. What they're being is very attentive to the kind of garbage that's going on in our school boards across this country. So that's what's going to happen here. Later on, that National School Organization, whatever they are, they recognize that they made a huge mistake, because parents are not going to back down from that. They're going to continue to watch and continue to try to influence what's going on in various school boards across the country. Sleepy Ed, that includes you. You're part of the country. So, yeah, but I'm not talking directly to you, although I probably could. You're part of the problem. So in any case, this is bad news. And our own school board, Merrick Garland, the Attorney General of the United States, hey, we're going to start investigating parents. He admitted he said he didn't know anything about this sexual assault in the school, and didn't understand or didn't know about the father being manhandled out of a meeting, et cetera, et cetera. And then what we find out, his daughter is married to an individual who formed a company that creates surveys and training for schools and teachers, etc., that in fact perpetrates all this stupidity on our children. And his daughter's married to this guy, and in fact our own school board just gave a contract to that company. So Merrick Garland is part and parcel of all this. His daughter's tied up to it. His son-in-law is one of the owners of the company, Prevalence, that makes up these really horrendous surveys that our students take, asking them about things that are none of their business. They then take that information and collate it. And, we don't keep personal information. They say they don't keep personal information, but in fact they have the personal information, and what they're doing with it, God knows. But this stuff all needs to stop. That needs to be defunded. There was no reason that we should never, in this county, should never have offered a contract to that company, knowing what it is, and knowing what it is now, it should be rescinded.
What do you think of this?
Steve's back if you
Yeah.
know, if you miss it.
A little computer emergency, the one that runs the station, as a matter of fact, but the factory called and straightened it out. I hate it when they can do it so easy.
That was quick.
Anyway, I would have figured out eventually, but it's hard to be on the air and do that at the same time. So I thank the Colonel for doing a great monologue there.
Oh, it's Panorama. Somebody just sent in. It's not Prevalence. It's Panorama. That software, that company needs to be defunded. There isn't a school board. There shouldn't be one dime of school-related funds sent to that company for any reason. And particularly in this county now, knowing what's going on with Merrick Garland, his relationship with, of course, his daughter, and her marriage to the individual that founded Panorama Software. And they're responsible for these intrusive surveys that your kids are taking. They're responsible for some really horrendous training modules, et cetera, that, teachers learn CRT, this... it's just horrible. These people, I'm sorry, but we have, I don't know how many PhDs hired in this county in our school board system, and apparently none of these PhDs that we hire and spend a lot of money on in salary can figure out their own surveys and figure out their own training modules, et cetera, et cetera. We hire these people to tell us to go spend some money on this company that's trying to usurp and trying to destroy our country, this Panorama. I don't need to pay a PhD to tell me to go spend money with Panorama. Well, if we're going to spend money and have Panorama do it for us, then we don't need a PhD sitting there in the school administration to tell us that. I can get, I can hire, a couple of parents or something to sit around and tell me, hey, pick this stuff. Here's a range of survey companies. Let's look at them all. And, I can grab a couple people off the street. Hey, this one. Hey, you know what? I think even the most... the least educated among us would understand that, hey, I'm asking grade school kids about their sexual preferences and things like that. Maybe we shouldn't be doing that. I think pretty much any parent in Moore County could figure that out. So let's not use that particular survey company. Let's go with these other ones. I think maybe I don't need a PhD to tell me to go to this other place. I can get some parents and have a little group of concerned parents to do that for me. And save some money.
Let me switch the topic slightly. Over the weekend, I stumbled on the MSNBC. Sorry, Father, but anyway, they had Alan Dershowitz on there, and they were talking about mandates for shots.
Oh, I talked about that while you were up.
Oh, you did?
Doing the thing, yeah.
Okay, well,
basically, and of course I disagreed with him, but he's a
what are you going to do when they come to your door
yeah.
with the needle and says, you must take this, or we'll take you and go hold you down and stick it in you?
Well, that's what they're doing in Australia.
Yeah.
I think they've got a big problem doing that here.
Because they're going to get hurt.
Yeah, and particularly in some of the rural areas and things. I'm concerned. I'm concerned. You get, plenty of law enforcement. I don't know how many SWAT teams there are available to law enforcement at the federal level. I suppose it's not a lot of them, and they're going to have their work cut out for them if they're going to ride around in various areas and think they're going to line people up and start sticking needles in them.
Well, it's not just whether if you have taken the virus. That was your personal decision, and you did it for you. But the person that doesn't want to take the virus vaccine, quote vaccine, because it's not a vaccine, it's a reprogramming of all the cells in your body shot. But if you don't want all your cells reprogrammed with the new mRNA, well, that should be their right. Say, I don't want that. And perhaps they've had enough exposure, they have natural immunity. They don't test for that. But, and others say, well, you don't have the right to go around and give it to me. Well, if you got a shot, what you got to fear? If you're wearing your mask, according to Fauci, what have you got to fear? It stops everything, as we know it doesn't. But if that's your belief, you're welcome to it. But I'm welcome to mine too.
Well, exactly, and that's the thing. There's several reasons people refuse to take the vaccination. Number one, if you've had it and you've been sick with it, you went and say you were feeling bad a year or so ago, and you went and took your test, and it came back, says, hey, you got it. Go home, do this, do that, and the other thing. If you got tested and it said, hey, you've got the COVID and you recovered from it, why do you need a shot? Why do you need a vaccination? You should have natural immunity.
Yeah, your body's already fighting.
That's question one. And when you look at all your emergency personnel, your police, your firemen, all your doctors, your nurses in the various hospitals, they dealt with this stuff for over a year and a half now. And, how many infected people? And now some knucklehead sitting in a chair somewhere in the bowels of the office space of the hospital, well, you're going to be fired if you don't take this vaccination. It just doesn't make any sense, number one. So, if you've had the COVID and you were tested for it and, hey, you've got COVID, you recovered, you shouldn't need a vaccination, number one. Number two, what they found out is the vaccination contains material from aborted babies. And for those individuals out there that are religious and do not believe in abortion and have real problems with this vaccination because it has that material in it. And I agree wholeheartedly with him. If that's your belief, it's pretty much my belief too, that you shouldn't be using aborted baby material in a vaccination, and you shouldn't take that into your body, then I agree with them, and they shouldn't have to.
And I don't think we should be doing it because Fauci said so. Here's a guy who has lied at every turn. Yeah. He sat there and said he did not release funds for gain-of-function use at the Wuhan lab, which they have completely disproved. They have proved that he did give the money. So in essence, he took your tax money, built a weapon, and tried to kill you with it. So far, he's killed 5 million of you.
Yeah, he's a criminal on the order of Dr. Mengele, if you ask me, with this stuff.
I'd love to see his balance sheet. There again, I guarantee you he's got multi-million dollars.
Well, he's the highest paid public official in America.
He's a 400, what was it, 58,000 or something like that?
It's a lot. It's way more than he's worth. The other thing is when you start looking at some of his experiments and other things, not specifically with the gain of function, but using animals in the way that he used them to validate some of his experiments. I mean, he's just a nasty individual, and I call him Dr. Faustus or Faustus. I say Faustus because it's more closely to Fauci. Faustus was an individual. He was a doctor who sold his soul to the devil for personal gain. Yeah. That's it, basically. That's why I call him Dr. Faustus, and that's what he is. He's selling his soul. He's selling all of us down the river, whatever your favorite euphemism is for that. He's selling us all for his personal gain, and that's the bottom line with that guy. He shouldn't be. He should no longer be employed in this country. He should be put on trial for mass murder.
All right. Well, let's change subject a little bit. Let's get the things we need to know today, so we do not sound stupid. Target has officially given up. They were trying to build a store open in San Francisco on their famous Mission Street, but shoplifting is out of control so much that it's no longer worth it. They don't, when these people come back and say, why didn't anybody build in my neighborhood? Well, it's because you tend to burn them down. and loot the stores. You need to get a hold of your neighborhood and get it under control, meaning you'll have to have police around, and all this touchy-feely crap's got to go by the wayside. Oh, they were oppressed. They're oppressed. We shouldn't bother them. They've had a tough life. No, they're driving up the cost to you and me and everybody else for the products, because those thefts have to get spread out over all their products as far as the cost of doing business. And it's gotten to that store that they can't turn a profit because the low-life characters that live in the neighborhood come in and take it all away.
Yeah, it's certainly more complicated than that. But you've talked about these supermarket wastelands. Big companies won't go in and open up stores that would support the local population.
And you have to have those anchor stores like that to draw in the smaller stores.
And the thing is that the people that really need these stores, these in general are not the individuals going in there and tearing up the stores and stealing, etc. They're honest working people, trying to make a living. And you've got a lot of outsourced individuals doing this stuff, and of course criminals and gangs, and unemployed now, so it's getting worse and worse. And San Francisco, that's an example. That place is closed up. Oakland, Seattle, Portland, your big inner cities are really starting to turn into wastelands because of this.
According to a report from Dateline, Warner Media execs are in discussions with The Sopranos creator David Chase about creating a spinoff series for its HBO Max streaming service. The big money this weekend was at the ballroom at the Bellagio, where 11 original Picassos were auctioned off. The value of the paintings going in was around $70 million. They jumped to $150 million when Hunter brought his in. Just kidding. The investigation continues. Oh, we did that. All right. In Iran, get this, they have a golf course with only 13 holes because they feel it's lucky.
Yeah, okay.
And plus, when you say I shot an 80, you just don't tell them it was on 13 holes. The cool thing about the new Ohio State license plate is that it includes a picture of the Wright Flyer carrying a banner that says that their claim ties in with their claim that Ohio is the birthplace of aviation. The bad news, the banner is shown attached to the wrong end of the plane.
Yeah, well, that's Ohio.
And in New York, 20-year-old lacrosse player was taking part in a hot dog eating contest for charity when a hot dog lodged in her throat and ultimately killed her. Dave Chappelle says he'd be willing to meet with Netflix employees who are upset with him about his comedy special.
Yeah. Well, Netflix rolled over for all the clown shows, so yeah, terrible stuff.
All right, so it goes for this Monday. That was a long day. You have yourself a great, safe day. We'll see you back bright and early tomorrow, 7 to 9 for a titillating Tuesday. Until then, be sure to support all the mom and pop businesses you hear on our airways, because they are the backbone of our economy here in Moore County. Your money will stay here, roll over, and create jobs. And don't forget also, millions of Americans have fallen, and they have died to give and protect the freedoms that you get to enjoy today. So live today worthy of their and their family's sacrifice. I'm Steve Leader Adams, and the LeaderMan and Nick and Colt the Dog. We'll all see you at 2 o'clock this afternoon at the Sunny Dog Park.
Horrendous.
It's going to be a brutal couple of days.
Brutal?
Yeah, nor'easter.
See, stop.
No, yeah, I'm serious. A nor'easter.
We're going to be hit with an actual nor'easter.
Starting tonight, yeah. Yeah, it's going to be torrential rains. They're
You
talking
say
about,
it with like zero alarm, like a nor'easter.
No, listen.
People die in those things.
Eastern Long Island and Connecticut, they're looking at 6 inches of rain.
What is East? Was I on Eastern Long Island this weekend? I don't even know.
You were close to
Eisenhower Park.
Yeah. Suffolk County is.
Right,
that's right. Hurricane.
Well, New Jersey got killed there. Was New Jersey also
Jersey and
my God.
Queens? Queens is where people really.
Queens, they got killed.
They got killed, and well, New Jersey people did as well, but Queens was where they drowned in these
basements, basically.
Basements, right.
Well, this is terrible.
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 Well, speaking of Nassau County, the big news, Sydney, of course, is that hell froze over. Liberal Democrat Newsday endorsed your girl, Ann Donnelly.
That is my girl.
The Republican for Nassau County District Attorney over Liberal Democrat Todd Kaminsky. Newsday endorsed the Republican over the Democrat for the Nassau County DA's race because they cite his cowardice and his
actually use that word,
pusillanimous behavior.
There's no way to use that word. Nobody knows that word. Only you.
I know. But they did in so many words they cited that as the reason for their endorsement of Ann Donnelly. In other words, he caved to the New York City radicals.
Yeah.
And just to talk about media bias, this was Saturday. This trust me when I tell you, this is a bombshell. Nobody expected this to happen.
I did not expect it to happen. I would have bet against that.
And so on Saturday, I'm watching News 12 Long Island to try to get some further information about it or something. Sure enough, they ignored the whole damn thing. They actually had a piece on the Suffolk County's DA race.
Which no one even knows about.
Well,
nobody.
Yeah,
don't even know who the combatants are.
You do. Tierney versus...
well, I happened to see Tierney at America's First Warehouse yesterday, but before yesterday, I didn't know much about Tierney.
So they do a segment on that, the Suffolk County DA race.
But not the big one.
But yes, not the one where their guy, Todd Kaminsky, got dissed by Liberal Democrat Newsday. They completely ignored it. You talk about media bias and corruption at a local level, the bias of omission. News 12 Long Island, you should be ashamed of yourselves for not reporting the fact that Newsday endorsed Ann Donnelly. And as I speak, Nassau County residents, tell your friends to get out there next Tuesday and vote for Ann Donnelly, even though it's an off-year election. This is an election of national significance.
I met another girl yesterday. Her name is Jennifer Harrison, and she's involved with domestic violence, the rights advocacy rights. She does a very good job with that. She cares about people. She was there, and she actually lives in Shirley, Long Island, believe it or not. She actually went to high school with Lee Zeldin. And she said, you were by the beach yesterday. Shirley is eastern Long Island, and we do have a beach. You were 20 minutes west of Shirley and more central, but relatively close to the water, according to Jen Harrison yesterday. So there you have it.
There you go. There's your,
there's your Long
Island update.
Brought to you by.
Speaking of fake news, phony bias of omission, the whole Dr. Fauci funding literally the torturing of dogs. If you see these pictures, and you should.
I don't want to see these
The only place to see them is on social media, really, because the media ignored it. It's unbelievable what your taxpayers did to these dogs in Tunisia. It's just like Fauci funding this gain-of-function research in Wuhan that caused the pandemic that he's allowed to get away with inexplicably. He funded this, they were doing these sort of Nazi-like experiments on dogs. Jeez. They were injecting the dogs with parasites.
Beagles, who were the cutest dogs.
Beagle puppies.
Oh.
And they had their heads were locked in a cage while fleas and lice were literally eating them alive, and they had their vocal cords cut so that the experimenters didn't have to listen to them bark in agony. This actually happened. The NIH under Dr. Fauci funded this stuff to the tune of almost $2 million, and the media ignored it. You didn't see it anywhere. You didn't see your pretty boy friend David Muir report on it, or his substitute on ABC World News Tonight, or Bill Ritter, or any of these people. Nobody talked about it, and you could have easily, because video and pictures are everything in TV news. They could have put pictures screen and said,
I
Dr.
agree.
Fauci funded this, but they wouldn't do it.
It's in the
Why?
New York Post today.
He's their golden boy.
I understand. Now, when you say, and you do this often, when you say my pretty boy friend David Muir, what exactly constitutes the friendship between me and David? I'm just curious.
I just know it gets under your skin.
It does. It makes me crazy because I really can't stand him. Like, he's got this nice hair and the pretty boy smile, but of all the people at 6:30, he annoys me the most. Now, your girl, and I can say this because you are friends with her, and she's one of your people, with the beautiful blue eyes, Nora O'Donnell, green eyes, I should say, out, on her way out at least, huh?
Oh, yes.
They're going to put Gail King at 6:30 at night? Gail King? Oprah's friend?
Gail King, the open racist lady.
Yes.
I mean, all the stuff on CBS this morning that she engaged in the past, and you had Anthony Mason, yup, Gail, yup, or whatever you say, Gail, yup, we're bad people, yup. She's going to be the, I guess she got tired of getting up early in the morning. I mean, who
I
can
don't
blame
know.
her?
It's a much more...
You work a half hour at night, read a script that
you make
somebody
more money.
writes for you, and tell them what stories to include.
And you make more money. And you become a political big shot than sitting there for 4 hours in the morning like you and I do for CBS. And that show is the worst rated show of all of them. Today's show kicks their ass. Good Morning America kicks their ass. Always has.
And in the evening show, same thing. CBS.
They always lose.
Perpetually last.
They took Sean McManus, who ran sports many years ago. I became friendly with Sean. Then he ran the news department, right? He may have even hired Katie Couric, I forget. But for how many years has CBS finished behind ABC and NBC, both mornings and 6:30 at night? For how many years?
Guaranteed, Gail King will not make any improvement whatsoever. It is a cake job. It's a waste. They should put like some young female intern if they want a woman there. Put her there. It wouldn't make a difference. They'd save a lot of money. But they won't because they're woke and they're stupid.
That's a multi-million-dollar job. I mean, they should be able to go out there and grab some. Well, I guess Gail King's a big star. She is a big star. Not my cup of tea, but a big star.
No, she sucks. Listen, just one last thing on media bias, real quick. I watch the Sunday morning shows. I tape the local news on Saturday and I watch it on Sunday. So it was technically 11:45 in the morning where you have Sandra Bookman and David Torres.
Yeah.
They're doing the news. Now, 45 minutes in, they finally discovered that prices are going up in the grocery stores. Listen to this. Listen to this newscast.
Also testified that she kept the clothing that Kobe and Gigi were wearing that day.
Attention shoppers, prices are rising. Coming up on Eyewitness News, sticker shop at the supermarket. We'll share some tips to help you save.
It's like a news flash to them. Prices. So why would they not report it like a month ago? Say when they started to rise, or 2 months ago, 3 months ago. Well, the bias of omission, corruption on a local level. It's there. And it needs to be pointed out. I mean,
no, it's fair.
I saw it. I was like, "Are you kidding? Are you guys kidding me?"
And I like Sandra Bookman. I never met her until the Columbus Day Parade, but she was really nice. She actually got up out of a chair and was like giving me a standing O in the Cadillac. Her and Joe Piscopo, and I forgot the third guy's name, but she was very, very sweet. But listen, business is business. You may be sweet when it comes to the fun stuff. When it gets to business, you got to do the right thing.
Let's cap it off with one of our favorite callers, Danny from Long Island. Good morning, Danny.
Good morning, boys. By the way, said the Battle of Long Island in the Revolutionary War was fought in Brooklyn Heights. See? So, you know, it is.
Is that true?
That's exactly right.
There you go.
The British came up to Bushwick and Flatbush Pass. Imagine that. It was even named that back 300 years ago.
Wow.
Thank you for making my point.
Yeah, there you go.
Get enough of harassing this guy, Todd Kaminsky. I am over his Facebook page like fleas on a dog. Every time he has some nonsensical thing, I just remind him about the no bail law. We had a child assaulted in New York City this weekend. She was at a playground with a friend, and some guy came up, pulled her hair, knocked her down, beat her up, and then hit a kid who tried to help. He walked out of jail 12 hours later. Can you imagine being that parent who has to send their kid outdoor to walk to school today, knowing that this creep this is every single day. This guy, for the love of God, if you're a Democrat, if you live in Nassau County, this man does not deserve a promotion to be the chief law enforcement officer in Nassau County. I agree completely with Newsday. He sold out his soul for political ambition to jump in bed with Eric. Now he has on his site promoting Eric Adams. And people are saying, you got to be kidding me. So this guy deserves to be impeached and thrown out of office, not given a promotion. It's a disgrace. Ann Connolly, not glamorous, not sexy, but She's a professional prosecutor. That's what we want. We don't want politics in these offices. Enough is enough. Go out there Tuesday, do the right thing, and pull the cord for justice and to keep Nassau County safe from these animals.
Way to go, Danny. And Donnelly, of course. And, yeah, Todd Kaminsky has the onions, the stones, to after what he did, writing and voting for the no-cash bail law, to run for the office of a district attorney in Nassau County, because he was afraid of the radicals in New York City. So in other words, he sold out for political expediency. He's a coward, and he's a killer. He's got blood on his hands, and he's no good. So Nassau County residents, get out there and vote for Ann Donnelly over Todd Kaminsky. Tell your friends to do so as well. Send a message. Hold these people accountable for these horrific laws that exist right now that we can't even repeal because the state legislature is dug in.
1-800-848-WABC. That's the number. We're going to play Beat Bernie coming up in about 20 minutes. Now, wherever I go, people love the game. Talk about it all the time. I love you. I love Bernie. I love the game. Here's your chance to play. 1-800-848-9222. What's at stake? As always, $100 gift card and, of course, a WABC Barry House coffee mug. All compliments of the great people.